This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, till the time we get the video. Okay, all right, the video is here.
I can't hear you.
Yes. Yes. So I hope you all got to see our Bangalore campus. I am guessing I am audible. Um, Sonal, you are able to hear me well?
Yes, we are able to hear you
Okay.
very clearly.
All right. Thank you. So then the plan is today that we will be discussing all the BA programs. We have our faculty who have joined us. So they will be talking to us about the programs. And as much as we want this session to be very interactive, we also realize that sometimes we might not be able to ask the question during the meeting. So hence, my kind request to you all is, after every presentation, if there are any doubts, please feel free to add it on the chat box. But the faculty will be replying to subject related questions. Anything with regard to admissions will be answered by Sonal on the back end. We have Mr. Rajagopal and Mr. Anurag Gupta also on the call. So we will try our best to answer all the questions. Request you that please do not send direct messages to me, because sometimes I might miss the question while I'm presenting this. So whatever questions you may have, post it in the chat so that everyone benefits with the answer. I think this would be the best way, so that in the interest of time, because we will really want you all to know about the subjects that we offer and how it's taught at our university. Before I hand it over to the faculty, a quick introduction about the university. Azim Premji University, located in Bangalore, and now from this year onwards, we are also going to be in Bhopal. Established in the year 2011, we are part of the Azim Premji Foundation, which is and we are a fully philanthropic and not-for-profit entity with a clear social purpose. We are building a society that contributes to the realization of just, equitable, humane, and sustainable society. The numbers that you see on the right, of course, are the statistics of our campus, and this we are just growing in numbers. Yes, we can go to the next slide. What you see on the left is, of course, some of you probably would have missed the video that we showed in the beginning, but this is our Bangalore University on the left, and on the right is Bhopal, which is going to be starting the academic programs from this year, 2023 onwards. So our undergraduate program, we have the 4-year BSc honors and 4-year BA honors and 4-year dual degree program, which is the BSc BEd. Yesterday, we had a webinar wherein we discussed all the BSc programs and the BSc BEd. Today, we are going to be focusing on the BA program, honors program that we offer. as you all know that we do 2 rounds of admission process actually, and the round 1 admission is already closed. Some of you who have joined us today are probably are students who have already received the results and know that they are joining our university. So if you have certain questions with regard to the curriculum, feel free to ask those questions. For those of you who are in the process of completing the application form, we wish to inform you 9th of March would be the last day to apply. National entrance test is scheduled on the 9th of April. This is going to be an online center-based test. We, because we've completed with round 1, we have very few seats available. So request you all to not wait and please do apply. The program will start from July 2023 onwards. So this year, and of course, the most important part, this is a mandatory residential program. Hence, which means even if your house was somewhere near to the university, you still have to be living in the campus because that's how the curriculum is designed. Hence, yesterday's webinar, we had some questions asking if they could pick up part-time jobs. Can you do anything? No, the answer is no to that because you are expected, it's a rigorous curriculum and hence you're expected to be in the campus. Any questions with regard to your application form, if you are in the process of applying and you have submitted your applications and you want to make some corrections in that, then the answer to that is that go visit the application portal and there is a raise a query that gives you an option to write to us. Any changes, edits, we can do it from the backend. Just write to us on that. And yes, thank you so much for having your cameras on. It's always a pleasure to see people when they are listening to our webinar. So sincere thanks for that. And now I'm going to invite Dr. Neeraja. Dr. Neeraja is going to explain. So this year marks the beginning of our 4-year undergraduate program. So what does the 4-year program entail? I'll request Dr. Neeraja to give us a detailed overview of that. Over to you, Neeraja.
Thanks, Beeta. Just give me a moment while I share my screen. Sorry, is this visible to everyone?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. So thanks so much, Beeta. And yeah, I think I too want to start by saying hello to everyone and welcoming you to the session. And I think as Beeta has already said, it's very nice to see many of you here. What I'm going to do is I'll just take you through the structure and design of our undergraduate program and give you an overview of the kinds of options that you have for the time that you spend here if you take up one of the programs. We'll begin with a very brief history of the program. We had our very first batch of students join us in 2015 and they graduated in 2018. We had a small cohort then. Cohorts now are bigger than this, but and we were also located on a different campus, a small campus that was temporary, that is close to where we are now. The campus that you were able to see glimpses of in the video that you were shown just now, we started classes in that campus in 2021. And as you know, we're launching the 4-year program now in 2023. So this is really just to give you a sense that while we are launching our 4-year program now in 2023 for the first time, it has existed in some version since 2015. And so we're building on our experience of having run this program since that time. So this is really just to give you a sense of that. You know that these are the programs that we have on offer. This is information that you should have. Today, we'll focus on the majors that are available for you as part of the BA programs. So we have economics, English, history, philosophy, and social sciences. And you'll hear more from faculty from each of these majors who will tell you a little bit about the structure of these individual programs. But I would like to tell you a little bit about how the overall structure of the program looks, irrespective of the kind of major that you select. So I'd like to spend a little bit of time just talking about why Azim Premji University, right? Why make this choice? So I think that a very special thing about our program and about the university is that in addition to the fact that we have several accomplished faculty who teach across the majors. You can read more about their interests and research on our website. But in addition to having faculty from these kinds of backgrounds, we are very committed to support and care for our students. Our classrooms are typically quite small, which means that teachers tend to know students very well. They get a lot of individual attention. Our curriculum is very rigorous in the sense that you have a good immersion and exposure to a breadth of knowledge in a particular major. But at the same time, you also have the flexibility to explore subjects outside your major. And I'll talk a little bit about that as we move forward, right? What that flexibility means. Flexibility and choices in an academic program can be confusing. And we have academic support and advising for those of you who will require it in terms of how you can make choices about the courses that you can select and the way that you can progress through the program. Our campus is fully residential. It is fully residential for I think a couple of very important reasons. One sort of reason for us is that we believe that education happens not only within the classroom. We believe that our students learn a great deal from belonging to a community of their peers and learning and living together with this community and sharing values and norms with that community. So we believe in this education that happens outside of the class. In addition, our campus is a very vibrant campus, right? On a day-to-day basis, you have a lot of sports activities, a lot of clubs that organize activities, a lot of student-led activities of various kinds. And these kinds of things that happen on a day-to-day basis is something that you cannot partake of unless you're going to be staying here as part of the residences. So those are the two ways in which you can think about what it means to be part of a residential program. We also understand that entering college can be a time of great transition, right? It can be a time of great change, and it is something that requires a great deal of guidance and support. And as part of our program design, we have faculty mentors that are allotted to students who help you through this very kind of exciting but also transitional period in your life as you move from your school to college and then plan your life beyond college. So I'll just give you a moment to go over this, and I will explain each of these components separately just in a moment. But this is what our overall program design looks like. We have a very important aspect of the program that all students will take, which is the common curriculum. The common curriculum are a set of courses where certain foundational capacities are instilled for students. And it also allows us to think about being embedded in in our context in India at present moment. So all students also choose a disciplinary major. Every student will also take what is called an occupational track. It's a minor in an occupational track. These occupational tracks, as the name may also suggest, are conceptualized to help prepare you for specific kinds of jobs. And we also have a set of flexible credits that each student has that you can use to customize your educational experience within the program. There is a set of courses that you can choose to take in some specific ways, and I'll explain that as well as we go forward. And the last component is that as part of the 4-year program, all students, if they stay on for 4 years, will be able to complete either a thesis, a research thesis, or can take on an internship. So we'll talk about the common curriculum first. As I said, the common curriculum is an exciting set of courses that are a set of courses that you take when your program begins. These are courses that are common to you irrespective of your major. You're likely to be in a class that is mixed and comprised of students from different majors, not necessarily those from your own. These courses are designed in such a way that they give you foundational capacities that any college student would require to make their way through the program reasonably well, right? And these foundational capacities are capacities in reading, writing, critical thinking, reasoning. The common curriculum courses are also engaging in rooting students and helping them think through what it means to be embedded in our current context in India. These are the courses that are a part of the common curriculum: critical reading and writing and public reasoning. The creative expressions set of courses are courses that are that can range from where you may learn an instrument, where you may be able to do arts and crafts. And these courses are really about embodied learning and, of course, understanding India, which gives you this very multidisciplinary perspective on India's past, present, and future. All students who enroll in the 4-year program will be able to take a minor in an occupational track. How we're thinking of this occupational track is a set of 5 courses, which are organized in these 3 broad categories. They give you perspectives, hands-on skills. They're all likely to have a period of immersion in the field. And in that sense, they all seek to help you engage with current social, political, and cultural and ecological issues. And they instill capacities that allow you to participate or pursue jobs in careers that are specific to these occupational tracks. These are the likely options that students will have for the occupational track. That's arts and design, climate studies, data and democracy, education, media and journalism, sports and fitness. So just to give you a sense of how this might work, if you have chosen BA in English, you can select, for instance, an occupational track that is media and journalism. And you can imagine how this is a combination that works well to supplement both your major as well as to give you a way of understanding how capacities in writing and communication can be applied in a real world context. All students have flexible credits that are available to them as a part of the 4-year program. Across 4 years, students can take about 7 courses as part of flexible credits. Now, these are credits which are available to you outside of having taken a major, as well as the occupational track, as well as the common curriculum. These flexible credits can be used to customize your educational experience in a way that you think would be optimal for you. But there are some ways in which we have thought about how these credits could be used within our program. You could use these credits to take on additional electives in your major. So you may find, for example, that there are certain electives that give you the scope to explore certain specialized subdisciplines within your major. And so you could use these credits to take on additional electives. You could use these flexible credits to gain an additional minor. So for example, if your major is history, then you could consider using your flexible credits to take up a minor in either philosophy or social sciences. So in another discipline, you could use these credits to gain a minor. We also imagine that some students may feel like they would like to take courses that allow them to improve and enhance their communication, reading, writing, quantitative abilities. So flexible credits can also be used for this purpose. In the 4th year of the program, students can pursue either a research thesis or they can take on an internship. The research thesis option is imagined as a gateway to further studies in the major of one's choice. If for example, you want to pursue a research career, this is something that allows you to undertake more specialized research in the major of your choice. The alternative to this is that you can also choose the internship option, where you can gain a work experience in a domain that is related either to your disciplinary major or your occupational track. So these are the 2 options the students can exercise in their 7th semester. While we encourage all students who are taking admission into our program to stay for the entire 4-year duration of the program. We are also in compliance with the UGC guidelines that allow for the following exit points. So students have the option to exit at the end of 1 or 2 or 3 years. And these are the kinds of capacities that the program is designed. The program has been designed keeping in mind that these are the kinds of capacities that students can gain at the following exit points. So if you just take the certificate as an example, because you will have completed a set of common curriculum courses and a basic course in one's major of choice, these are the kinds of outcomes that one can expect at the end of the year. Just as how at the end of 3 years, if you have continued in the program up to the 3rd year, you will gain all of the outcomes that have been listed, as well as a minor in an occupational track, as well as you would have gained a certain degree of breadth in your major of choice. So I'll stop here with information about the 4-year program, and I'll be happy to take any of your questions via chat. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much, Neerja. I think there are some questions on the chat. I will request you to have a look at them and answer a few that could relate to the 4-year program questions. I already see faculty replying to a lot of questions, which is already posted. But in the interest of time, I'm still thinking that we'll go ahead with the subject presentation so that everybody is able to hear the faculty speak. So let me now invite Dr. Karuna. She is going to be taking us through the history program that's being offered at the university. Over to you, Karuna.
Yeah, hi. I hope you can hear me.
We can hear you loud and clear. Yes.
Okay. I'll try sharing my screen.
Yes.
I think you'll have to enable screen share.
You are,
okay.
Yeah, we can see your screen. Yeah.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So good evening, everyone. I'm just going to say a few things about our BA history program, why if you came and joined our program. Why is BA history?
There is a disturbance, Karuna, in your call. Not able to hear you.
I mean, how is it?
Sorry, we are losing you in between. So there seems to be a lag in the internet.
So, I mean, often, here is his, and you look at discussions, for example, on WhatsApp, a lot of debate or controversies about what actually happened, right? There's many different versions that one keeps hearing. While in school,
Karuna, I'm so sorry, but we're not able to hear you.
Okay. In our history program, we try to address this actually on building the skills of each content, and we focus a lot on building the skills of knowing how things happened, and also figuring out how do we know that they happened, right? For different time periods, obviously you need different kinds of skills, ranging from figuring out archaeological artifacts, reading different kinds of inscriptions, documents, and so on. So we kind of train students in contextualizing, first of all, finding sources, contextualizing them, interrogating them, analyzing them, and then finally also building a narrative, and kind of being able to analyze different narratives that are out there already. The second kind of trope that we come across when we think about history is about battles and kings and who won and who lost. And often these debates can also become quite acrimonious. And there are heroes and villains, and who was the hero and who was the villain. So we try to ask the question, does it really matter who won, who lost? And should we care about it? Or is history totally irrelevant? Or which aspects of history are relevant in today's context, and how so? We try to make students understand the dangers of anachronism, um, of um, of forcing understandings of today onto the past, and thus interpreting history anachronistically. Um, and at the same time, we try to instill a kind of historical sensibility in trying to understand the present in the context or in the light of the past. Often we feel that it is a great it's a certain awareness of the historical context of skill, not only for historians, but also for anybody. I mean, whether you are in media, whether you are in policy research, whichever field you might be in, having a historical sensibility is very important. And that is what we try to build through this course. Finally, as I already said, we mostly know histories of big men. So are they the only characters in history? Is only their story important? No, in our program, we very much believe that there are many stories, there are plural stories, there are her stories and their stories. So we especially try to explore the histories of groups that are marginalized in mainstream histories. And so we do this through exploring content, but also trying to build capacities that can allow students to look for and tell stories which have not, historical stories which have not been told thus far. So here is a glimpse at the our courses. So we have a set of core courses. You can look at the list, and as you might be able to see, while our emphasis is on India, the history of India, we do not see India in isolation, and we explore the history of India in the context of the history of the globe and in India's engagement with the rest of the world. And so we cover a whole wide geography, and we cover a very wide time period in our core courses. So at the end of it, the student would have a kind of very broad understanding of the history of the subcontinent. In addition, we have our faculty who have a lot of experience and knowledge in a wide range of themes, historical themes. And so here are some of the elective clusters. So each of the courses a wide range that you can choose from. This is on building skills. And so this is not just done in the classroom. Our students get to go out to the field. Some of the images that you're seeing here is from a workshop in which students were learning how to make stone tools. There was a person who had come to show students that they could try out how to make stone tools. So we have field trips. We have a very wide speakers. And we also believe that apart from learning history in the classroom, there is a need to engage with the outside world. And therefore, we have a course on public history, but we also constantly try to bring in people who are public historians and also build the capacity of students to be public historians. Um, so as you can see, our program is a strong one to make you a budding future historian. But of course, not everybody who's interested in history wants to become a historian and only do research. So then why do history? As I already kind of have indicated, I think that doing history gives you the capacities to branch out into many disciplines. It gives you fundamental skills such as critical thinking, writing, the capacity to do research and investigation, and above all, it gives you a historical sensibility. And because of the way in which our classrooms are structured, students get a lot of confidence and capacity in public speaking. And as I already mentioned, we have a strong emphasis on engaging with the outside through public histories. To bring that to a conclusion, here are some of the avenues for someone who has finished their BA in history with us. Of course, you can go for higher studies. You'll be have the capacity to do so, especially because you can, if you are interested in research, you can already do a thesis with as part of the program. Those who are interested in museums, archives, libraries can look for jobs in that field. There's media and publishing, teaching, and of course, those who want to join the government sector, social sector. I think having historical sensibility and the capacities of working as a historian definitely contribute very much to such careers as well. So here is a list of the faculty. You can actually go to the website. We also have a micro website on the history program where you can see the profiles of all our faculty. And if you take a quick look here, already you can see that we have faculty who are specialized in a very wide range of geographies and themes, and therefore we bring a lot to the table, and make our classrooms quite vibrant. And for more details, you can please go to the Azim Premji University website, as well as the micro history website. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karuna. Actually, there was an internet issue at your end. So initially there was some patchiness, but the slides were self-explanatory too. So I'm guessing it was understood by all. But if there are any questions with regard to any particular slide which you were not able to listen in or wanted to more, please feel free to post the question to Karuna in the chat. She will be answering them. We will move on next. Yes, lots of questions coming in, and I think we are also able to simultaneously answer. Thank you for the answering part from the back end. Let me now invite Dr. Tarun Menon, who's going to take us through our philosophy program. Over to you, Tarun.
Thank you. So I'm Tarun. I'll be talking about the philosophy program. Let me just share my screen. Give me one second. Okay, so hopefully the screen is visible. Many of you might be unfamiliar with philosophy. Philosophy, unlike a lot of the other disciplines that you're going to be discussing today, is not something that is ordinarily taught in schools. And so you might not have a clear idea of what exactly we talk about teach in the philosophy program here. And so part of my objective is to convey to you an idea of what our philosophy program focuses on, what we teach in our program. And so maybe a good way to introduce the idea is to begin by describing one of the kind of philosophical questions people have been thinking about, talking about for generations, for years and years. And this question originated in the particular form I'm going to describe it in ancient Greece. It's been talked about in other parts of the world as well. In fact, There's examples in ancient Indian philosophy of talking about the same kind of problem. But in ancient Greece, the problem was referred to as the problem of the ship of Theseus. So here's the nature of the problem, right? Here's the puzzle, here's the question. The question is, you can imagine a ship which people are using, sailing on over years and years. And as time goes by, parts of the ship decay. And so you need to replace those parts with new parts, right? You might replace certain planks, you might replace you might replace the sails. So you gradually replace parts of the ship over time as time goes on. Now, obviously, replacing one single part of the ship doesn't mean that it's no longer the same ship that we had before, right? Simply replacing one sail in a ship is not going to change it into a completely new thing. But the point is, as time goes on, as we keep replacing more and more parts, we might end up with a situation where none of the parts in the current ship are the same as what we had in the original ship, right? So now we have a completely different object which shares none of the parts that we had originally. And so the question is, can we still say that this is the same ship we started out with? Now, why is this an important question? I mean, we don't care particularly about ships, probably most of us. Why is this an interesting question? It's an interesting question because this is not just a question about what it means for a ship to stay the same when all its parts change. This is a question you can ask about any object, right? Any object, when as it changes over time, as gradually its parts change and are replaced, at what point do we say it's no longer the same thing that we started out with? And this is particularly important, interesting when it comes to thinking about ourselves, right? How do we think about our own personal identity as we grow up, as we age, as we move from being children to adults to elderly people? We change fundamentally as well. Our bodies change, our minds change, our ideas change. If you look back, think back to yourselves when you were 6 or 7 or 8 years old, there's probably not much that you share with that person. And yet, in some sense, you're the same person, right? So we're faced with this puzzle, this paradox that as we grow, we become fundamentally different people. None of our parts, whether we think of it in terms of our bodily parts or our ideas, are the same as the person that we used to be 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago. And yet, there's something about us that makes us the same person. And understanding what it is for someone to be the same person that they were a long time ago is not just a matter of theoretical concern. It's also something that matters to us in terms of how we structure our lives. For example, it matters in terms of how we structure our legal system, right? Many legal systems, including the legal system in India, have a concept of a statute of limitations, that after a certain period of time, a person can no longer be held accountable for the crime they committed in the past. At least part of the justification for that often is that if enough time passes, we can no longer consider this to be the same person who committed the crime. And so perhaps we can't hold them accountable for a crime they committed 20, 30, 40 years ago. And so these very basic ideas about how we think about what makes an object or a person the same as an object that existed before or a person that existed before can have real implications for very fundamental aspects of how we can structure our lives. And this is the general idea of the philosophy program, to think more deeply about certain questions that underlie fundamental aspects of our lives, but that we may not think about in ordinary life. We may not think about very carefully or deeply. Our purpose in the philosophy program is to get you to pay attention to these questions. Now, one thing you might notice in that description of the philosophy program is that we don't define philosophy so much in terms of its domain of study, right? It's not that philosophy is the study of some particular kind of thing. We define philosophy in terms of an approach we take. The approach is to focus on fundamental questions that are really important, but that maybe we don't pay attention to a lot, that we take for granted. And the approach is to address those questions carefully, critically, by slowing down our thinking, making sure that we're thinking about this in a rigorous manner. And so what you'll notice if you look at our curriculum in the philosophy program is that the actual topics we cover in our core courses and the electives we offer span a wide range of domains. Like I said, philosophy is not defined by its domain. We have courses on the philosophy of art, the philosophy of science, political philosophy, environmental philosophy, the philosophy of mind, ethical philosophy. These are all some courses that we cover in philosophy. right? What characterizes all of these different aspects, different domains as being domains where we can apply philosophical analysis is the fact that in all of these areas, there are questions that are really fundamental, that are really deep, that matter to how we live our lives, and that we should approach with a certain degree of thoughtfulness, of critical analysis, of rigor. Here are just some of the questions that you might be thinking about addressing in the courses I've just described, right? So we have courses on philosophy of art, where among other things, you might ask questions like, does beauty really lie only in the eye of the beholder? Is there such a thing as objective beauty, or is it really up to every individual's decision-making about what is beautiful, what is art? The questions about politics, right? We live in a democratic country. The belief is that democracy is important to have a just political society. But what is it about democracy that makes it a just arrangement? Is it just the fact that people get to vote? Or is democracy more than just being able to vote politically? Is there something more to it than that? We ask questions about the mind. How do we think of our minds? Can only human beings have minds? Do animals have minds? Can potentially robots, artificial intelligences have minds, be conscious? So these are the kinds of questions that we address in philosophy. The point of philosophy is not to focus on a particular area, but to look at various aspects of our lives that really matter to us and think about what are the fundamental questions we need to answer to really understand what art is about, what science is about, what politics is about, what the human mind is about. And that's the approach we take in our program. I think it would be useful to say that the way we approach philosophy at Azim Premji University is actually quite different from other philosophy programs that you might find in other universities, colleges in the country. And one important difference is that in a lot of places, if you go to study philosophy, philosophy is about studying what philosophers have said in the past, right? So what you'll be doing when you study philosophy is that you'll be looking at great thinkers in the past and reading their work. We believe that that is not what philosophy should really be about. Like I've just been talking about, our approach in Azim Premji University is that philosophy is about thinking about deep problems in various domains of inquiry and trying to solve them yourself, rather than trying to figure out what some great philosopher in the past has said about it. Of course, it's useful to know what people have said about it in the past, but the focus is really on thinking of philosophy as a discipline where we try to think about and solve problems and develop the skills necessary to think about and solve the kinds of problems, the kinds of questions that we've talked about here, rather than a kind of study of the history of what other philosophers have said in the past. So you won't find philosophy courses in many other universities. You'll find courses like, medieval Indian philosophy or Western philosophy. That's not how we teach philosophy at Azim Premji University. Philosophy is not about reading what people have said in particular times and places. It's about answering the deep questions that we care about. So in our philosophy courses, in every single course, you'll find us looking at a range of different traditions, approaches, a range of different resources that might be relevant to addressing the problems we talk about. Other aspects of the philosophy program that I think are worth emphasizing is that philosophy is a discipline about not just thinking about ideas, but communicating your ideas. And so in keeping with that notion of philosophy, we offer our students extensive support in reading and writing. We have peer tutors who help students in reading and writing, and we also have, the faculty is always conducting workshops in order to improve the reading and writing of philosophy students. We also think philosophy is not just about thinking about issues, sitting back in your chair and thinking about the world. We think philosophy is about actually engaging with the world, right? Understanding these deep problems is about also going out into the world, seeing what kinds of problems motivate people beyond the walls of the university. And so we have fieldwork components as well in our philosophy courses. Currently, students in the philosophy program are participating in a fieldwork course called Philosophy for Children, where they go into schools and they try to communicate philosophical ideas to school children who might be in 3rd or 4th grade. And this helps students develop their own understanding of philosophical ideas and also get an idea of the kinds of problems that children are thinking about. Problems about how to interact with their friends, problems about how to think about beauty or truth. Children are not unsophisticated thinkers, and by our students engaging with children, we feel that they develop their own understanding of philosophy as well. There are also a number of interdisciplinary possibilities. Again, if you look at our course website, you'll find some of the suggested options for how you might combine philosophy with other disciplines available in Azim Premji University to get a kind of interdisciplinary understanding of these disciplines. Our aim in the philosophy program, as I've been saying, is not so much to develop is for our students to come out of it being able to say when a particular book was written or what a particular thinker thought. That's not the purpose of the program. The purpose is to develop certain skills of thinking, analysis, communication, right? And we think that those skills are valuable, not just if you're going to go on and follow a research career in philosophy, but these are skills that are widely in demand across multiple different domains, and skills that are in general useful for any educated person in their life. And so the focus of our program is on instilling in our students crucial transferable skills. What we mean by transferable here is that skills that aren't just focused on understanding and doing philosophy, but that can be applied in a wide range of domains. Skills of critical analysis, problem solving, clear communication, working with people from different backgrounds, disagreeing with people productively, having productive arguments with people, using abstract ideas to understand specific contexts. These are skills whose usefulness is not just restricted to philosophy. Our aim is to have a program which combines a development of verbal and communicative skills with skills of analysis, critical thought, systematic reasoning. That's the purpose of the course. And finally, I should mention that because the focus is on a wide range of transferable skills, there's a wide range of career options available once you actually go through a philosophy education at Azim Premji University. Of course, there's career options in future research in philosophy and related disciplines, but also the skills of communication, critical thinking, problem solving are applicable and useful in a wide variety of domains, in working in nonprofits, in law, journalism, consulting, education, and so on. And so because we focus on this kind of skill building aspect of philosophy, we think that going through a philosophy education at Azim Premji University prepares you well for a wide range of future opportunities. So that's the kind of introduction to the philosophy program. I'd be happy to answer any questions people might have in the chat. There's also a website which I will post in the chat as well for anyone who's interested. This is our philosophy microsite. You can go there for more information. So yeah, thank you all. Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much, Tarun. That was indeed good, considering that philosophy is never taught in school. I think this was very important for students to know what is it that they get to know in the program. Thank you. All right, in the interest of time, we will try and move quickly. Please continue to post your questions, and I think all are being answered too. Let me now invite SV Srinivas for presenting our English program. Thank you, Srinivas. I think you are already been very active on the chat. There were a lot of questions. So maybe one or two key questions which you have already answered, you can talk about it for the benefit of others who probably did not see the chat. Over to you.
Yeah, hi, thank you. Just before I tell you something about the BA English program, I just want to let you all know that we don't assume that our students, the students who come to the BA English program have already done 12th standard level literature courses. Okay, so we have a number of students who come from commerce backgrounds and science backgrounds, and they do reasonably well they do as well as anybody else in our program. Okay, now we recognize that there are two kinds of students who opt for English. One kind of student, one set of students are not very good in English, which is to say they don't have a great vocabulary, or they haven't read a great deal. They have never done literature courses other than the general, poetry and short stories in the general English courses. And they want to learn more English because they feel that English will take them places. And then we have another set of students who have read a great deal through their school education. They've done literature courses in their 11th and 12th. And they have a very clear idea of what to expect in a literature classroom. They know something about literary criticism. They may have written essays. They may have written stories. We've had several students who've already written full-length novels. So we recognize both kinds of students will apply to us, and we welcome both. Right. So what you can expect in the English classroom is a diverse cohort, both in terms of what they've done in their 12th standard, as well as the kind of the levels of comfort they have with English. For some, English is the first and only language they know. For others, it is a language that they're still very nervous about. So the program is able to address both sets of students. And I think we've had a lot of very interesting situations in which students are learning from each other, learning from people who are not like them. And this has been the university policy. Now, the English program is focused on reading, writing, and creating textual objects, creating media objects and so on. Okay, now we are only 2 years old. You will be the third batch. So we don't have a set of students who already completed their BA in English. What we have is several batches of students who've completed BA in combined humanities, which was what we had earlier, and history, English, and philosophy were all part of BA English, BA combined humanities. So as of 2021, we began the English program, and this is, as Neerja was saying, this is the first time we have a cohort coming in for a 4-year degree. All right. So if you're interested in, if your question is what have English students done in the past, I can only, tell you about what combined humanities students have done in the past. What our old students are doing and what have they done after their degrees. Okay, now a little bit about the program. These are, I hope you are able to see on your screen that we have color-coded our courses. Okay, now we have 101, the entry-level course. It's called Introduction to Literature, and that's the gateway to all the other courses in the English program. This is where we address the kind of vast differences that there might be among students who have either read a lot or not read a great deal in literature. Okay? Now, we have a course on statistics because we feel that all our students should have some numeracy. Very often students run away from numbers, they run away from physics and maths and into English, which is fine. We welcome everyone who's run away from the sciences. We also welcome science students. But we feel that every student should have some basic numeracy, should be able to work with numbers, should be able to understand a table when they see it in a newspaper, should be able to understand a graph when they see it in a newspaper, should be able to think in terms of how numbers matter in their own lives. Okay, so a very basic statistics course. It's enough if you have done some, I'm sure all of you have done some statistics in 10th standard. That's where we begin. All right. Then we have one set of courses which are called practice, and that these are courses which train you in writing, and you will see in the next slide when I talk about the elective courses that we have on offer that several of these sets of courses that we have will have additional sort of you'll have additional opportunities in the electives basket to do more courses of this kind. Okay, so the practice courses, which are an introduction to creative writing, that you take in the very first year, the second semester of your BA, followed by writing for the public, which comes in the third year. There will be additional writing courses in the electives baskets. Next slide, I'll show you that. Okay, now then we have courses which are broadly under literature and context. Now this is where we learn the basics of literary analysis, which includes placing texts in the context of their production and their reception. Right? So we have poetry and short story from around the world. We have contemporary India through literary and cultural texts as literature and context courses. Then we have a literary history course, and this is in some ways, this is the one literary history course that we have in the core, and it's on the romantics, which I'm sure almost every student who comes in the English program is already familiar with. But it's a very different kind of course, as you will discover. Another literature and context course coming in your second year, which is drama as text and performance. Once again, you look at drama, you look at plays, you look at them in context, and you see how they're performed and what happens with around the text. Then you have a set of courses under perspectives. Okay, perspectives introduce theoretical concepts and work with literary or other texts to engage with theory. So one is on literature, conventional understanding of literature, which is literary text and so on. The next one, which comes in the third year, Bangalore Language, Media, Culture, is a course where you'll be working with the city and writings on the city, cultural productions around the city of Bangalore, in which we are located. I've already talked about writing for the public. The second practice course, which is English students learning to write to a very general audience on topics that are broadly of interest, broadly related to literature and culture. Okay, so this is your core. These are the courses that everybody has to do. Everybody in the English program has to do these courses. And then you have a set of electives, and these electives are subdivided into various kind of disciplinary or thematic sort of baskets. If you want to pursue, let's say, a master's in literary studies, literature or something like that, literature or cultural studies, then you would be opting for either the literary studies courses or cultural studies courses. If you are someone who's interested primarily in writing and journalism, and you see yourself as a future, either a creative writer or a feature writer or a journalist, then you would be choosing the courses that are offered in writing. Nothing compels you to choose only from one basket. You can decide to do one writing course and one translation course, for example. You can decide to do, a literature course, a literary studies course, a translation course, and come back to do and offer some of the other courses in this list. You remember Neeraja's presentation that you have flexible credits, right? So some of these courses will be available as part of your flexible credits, so you can do many more, some more of these courses than what the 2 elective slots allow you to do. In your 4th year, you will have a further opportunity to do additional courses, and once again, you can come back to some of these courses and do them. All right? So this is broadly what we offer in the program. And what is it that we think you can do? What is it that you will be qualified to do once you're done with your 4-year BA program? Editing, writing, and other journalism, translation. These are all areas that you feel that you will have some introduction to and will be able to quickly, acquire any additional required skills that you need to get into jobs in these domains. Research and higher education is something that several of our students have chosen to do in the humanities period. BA humanities students, several of them have gone into research in, higher education, history, philosophy, English and cultural studies and so on, media. Social sector, our university is very interested in seeing our students in social sector. We have campus placements. So if you're interested in the social sector, there'll be plenty of opportunities for you to move in there. Storytelling, design, advertising, all of these are also areas that we feel you'd be, because you would have read so much and you would have thought creatively over the years and tried out various kinds of ideas. We feel you'll be very well qualified to do all of this. Also keep in mind that you have a media and journalism minor. Quite a few, not all, but a good number of English students have chosen to do their, occupation track, not minor, occupation track in media and journalism. And I think even in future, there'll be quite a few students choosing media and journalism. So that's, that gives you additional sort of grounding in writing, in media, in advertising and design and so on. Yeah, and teaching and education, of course, we know that some of our students, quite a few of our students have gone and worked, have gone and applied and been successful with their applications for the Teach for India program. Several of them want to be teachers, so we expect that to continue and you'll be reasonably prepared for that as well. Yeah, So that's what I have. And if you have any questions, please put them down in the chat. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Yes, I think a lot of questions were already in, but if there are many more, please feel free to write. I did see in between that somebody had raised a hand. I would sincerely request you to post your questions in the chat. That's the best way we are able to address today. All right, next in line, this year we start the program BA in Social Science. So we have Dr. Sharandeep Basu who's joined us. He will take us through the program. And I think there were some questions and some candidates already asking. So I guess this will be the time to even say off any questions which you think is beneficial for all. Yeah, over to you, Dr. Basu.
Thank you, Beetha. Am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, start sharing my screen. Okay, thank you everyone for joining us. And I know that you've been here an hour already. So I'll keep my comments brief. As Beetha mentioned, we are a new program. And sorry, can you still see and hear me? Okay, I'm getting a message from Zoom saying that Zoom quit unexpectedly.
Yes, we can see you and hear you.
We can hear you and hear you well.
We can hear you. Go ahead. Your screen's no longer shared.
All right.
Yeah.
Is it working now?
The screen sharing has not, I guess that got disabled. So you might have to just share it again. Yes.
Right. Okay. So I have a...
No, yes, now it is on.
It
yes.
is, right? Okay. I have a similar but different problem than my colleague Tarun from philosophy. Tarun's case was to explain philosophy to undergraduate students, potential undergraduate students, because philosophy doesn't exist as a subject in our school system. My problem is in the reverse, because social science is a subject, very much a subject in our school system, social studies. But at the undergraduate level, you do not find a social science undergraduate degree. You have different component disciplines of social sciences being offered as undergraduate degrees, but social science is not the case, right? So you do not have too many institutions that offer a BA in social science. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the rationale of the discipline itself. So why an integrated social science major? And what is the disciplinary rationale for an integrated social science major? So if you've ever wondered about the complexity of Indian society, the sheer complexity, its many centrifugal and centripetal forces, things that threaten to tear it apart, things that keep it together, you will realize that there cannot be any one vantage through which you can holistically understand this creature that Indian society is, right? And that is precisely the rationale on which the social science major has been put together, because we believe that you need to draw from all the various social sciences to have a sense of the big picture, to have a holistic sense of how Indian society works. And why do we think that it is necessary to offer students such a program? Because we also believe that it's the fundamental responsibility of the social sciences to enable a prospective student to make sense of our society so that we can understand it better and so that we can act in it better and perhaps change it for the better as well, which is something that our university is also deeply committed to. Hence the social science program. The other reason for having an integrated social science rather than various social science majors, different social science major, is also the fact that employment research time and again has shown that at the point of entry, what employers are concerned with is the foundational basis that students come in with. And a broad-based undergraduate education is, of course, preferred over narrow-tracked specializations. That prospective employees take it upon themselves to teach an employee, right? I mean, what you need to do within the context of that particular employment. So the social science major is also geared towards providing such a broad-based understanding of Indian society, where we live and where we will work and where we intend to intervene to, again, change it for the better. As a major, it resonates very closely, as I mentioned earlier, with the university's commitment to upholding our constitutional values of social justice, of equity, of humaneness, of creating a sustainable future for the future generations. And the curriculum that we have designed is kind of geared towards that as well. It will become clear in a second. But in order to achieve all of these goals, which are very noble, we need to have a critical understanding of how we've arrived at the present condition. Why is an antiquated system like caste such a real present thing in Indian society today? Why are there such stringent gender hierarchies which imperil the lives of many women and non-binary people? What is the relationship of urban India to rural India, so on and so forth. So many of the things that are very real and which determine the future trajectories of people in Indian society today, the curriculum is designed in a way to understand, to kind of, take a deep dive and understand it systematically, something that we take for granted often. Sometimes we wonder about them without any great degree of clarity, but the courses that we have in the major are designed in a way so that we can go in depth and gain some understanding, a working understanding of many different features of Indian society. But the point is not to be only critical. We can critique until cows come home, we can complain until cows come home, but we also need to have a creative imagination if we are to intervene in society and change it for the better, right? So again, that is something that we stress on. So it is not only bookish knowledge that we are trying to impart to our students through this particular degree program, but it is also how to constantly interact and relate with real life situations. And we begin with the university campus itself, which is a microcosm of what Indian society is, with all its different problems, issues, but also its possibilities, right? So we take the university campus as a creative space through which we realize our curriculum. Now, this is the structure, the curricular structure of the social science major. It's broken up into core and elective, and there are 12 core courses, out of which 11 are compulsory and 1 is elective. And the largest bunch of courses look at the principal structures of stratification, that is the hierarchies in Indian society. How have they come about? What sustains them? What kind of identities? And we know that we are living in a time of extremely polarizing identity conflicts, right? So a lion's share of the courses are focused on unpacking these elements of Indian society. We also have a bunch of courses that are method-oriented, and they impart important transferable skills to students dealing with data generation, data analysis, classification, representation and evaluation, visualization, so on and so forth. So we do not entirely want to take a qualitative track to the social sciences, but also give students a solid basis in quantitative ways of understanding society and the way society makes itself legible to a broader public. A third and a smaller set of courses are dedicated to the philosophy and the theory of social sciences. How has social sciences come about as a set of disciplines? What kind of knowledge do they impart to us? On what basis? On what kind of assumptions? So these are more theory and philosophy of social science oriented courses. And the elective clusters we have are the following. We focus on the law and the state, labor and livelihoods, landscapes and habitats, science, medicine, and society. If you have any further questions about these, I can answer them in the chat separately. And here is how the courses are stacked up. In the first year, the first course, and you can see they're color-coded. There are 4 courses that are colored in green, and they are skills and method courses. The first course that any student joining the program will do is the course called Seeing Like a Social Scientist. Again, like every other major that my colleagues have spoken about, we do not assume that our students will come in with a prior exposure to the social sciences. So this course is very important insofar as it orients a student to the social sciences as a whole. And we take, again, Azim Premji University campus as our practical laboratory through which we introduce students to some of the salient concerns of social science as a discipline, right? And I'll leave it on the screen. You can take a look at it for a minute, and then I'll move to my next one. Okay, this is the last slide I have, and I'll be repeating, indeed piggybacking on what my colleagues have said before me. The career opportunities that students have out of a social science program are not very different from what has already been told to you, right? The university has a huge investment in the education and social sector, and we believe that our major will train students well to enter these two sectors. We also realize that civil services is an aspiration for many students. So the kind of orientation to society, or the exposure to society and the way to analyze and understand it that you get through the major will prepare you well for that. Media and journalism, a lot of our students over the years have gone into this. Social science sector will definitely add value to your prospective candidature in such an employment scenario. The IT sector, public policy, very obviously so, because much of public policy is social science oriented, and we plug directly into that track. And of course, higher studies. Now here I'd like to say, and this is a question that we received often in the open houses, does an integrated social science degree disadvantage you in terms of doing a master's in political science or in international relations or in economics, so on and so forth? And we'd like to emphatically state that it does not. In fact, it gives you an advantage because it gives you a broad overview of different social science, traditional social science disciplines. And it allows you, therefore, to make an informed choice regarding what you want to study subsequently, right? So with a social science undergraduate degree, you'll be well prepared to apply to traditional masters in, say, political science, in economics, in sociology, so on and so forth, right? Also, when you back up the social science major with the kind of minors that we have available in the undergraduate program, it makes you a really compelling candidate, not just for various kinds of employment, but also for also for higher education as well. So that is my spiel. If you have any concerns, please feel free to type in the chat box and I'll answer to the best of my ability. Thanks.
Yes. Thank you so much. I have a question out of curiosity. The last image that you showed, was it our campus during construction time?
That is right. Yeah.
Okay.
And it fits very well with the social science program where it's at, because we are also under construction. So if those of you who are online right now, if you join us, you'll be our lovely and beloved guinea pigs. You know, we will experiment with you. But no, I mean, I'm kidding only. We provide you with very, very solid education in social sciences.
Yeah, because we know you as an amazing photographer too. So I guess that you've used the same picture. Thank you so
don't
much.
get a degree or minor for that, you know. So yeah, but I'll work with you on your photography as well.
I know, but thank you so much. And again, I know there were already questions and some of them have already received their results and they've selected for the programs and you've been answering their questions. So thank you for that. Yes, and next we will move on to Dr. Rahul for economics. But before that, I did see people who said that they missed yesterday's webinar, people who are interested in the science programs. Please write to us at outreach@apu.edu.in and we will share the recording with you, right? But kindly do send us an email on that. Yes, we now move on to economics. Rahul, I think you've already been busy answering a lot of questions on economics, so over to you now.
Thanks, Vita. Can you just give screen sharing permission to me?
Yeah, I have given, you should be able to.
I think host disabled participant screen sharing. Can you just check again?
One minute, let me just see in case you're not able to share.
No, it's saying
you have to make him a co-host, Bita. I think I'm not able to do it.
No, I thought I did make him a co-host. Just let me just check again. Sorry, I'm not able to. 1 minute. Just give me a second. No, are you sure? Because I did make you the co-host. Okay. Sorry, let me just check this out. Sorry, Sonal, are you able to do this for me? Are you able to make, okay, 1 minute.
I'm not able to.
Okay. Rahul, can you give it a try now, please?
Yeah. Yeah, it's working.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
Thank you, Beta. I hope you can see this.
Yes, it is, screen sharing is enabled, yes.
Screen sharing is enabled. Hi, everyone. Yeah, hi everyone. In the interest of time, I'll just go a little fast through my presentation. I think if there are any more questions, you can just ask me. I think one thing to start with is that, our economics program is thought of in a little more broad sense, which is that, the economics program teaches you theory, methods, skills, but it's not just the theory or methods or just the maths. I think for us, it's important that economics has to be taught alongside other allied disciplines which have a lot to contribute to understanding of economics, such as philosophy, history, politics, etc. There are certain things which we felt was important or something we want to include in our economics program. I'll just quickly sort of expand on the things listed here. So broadly, there's a focus on teaching economic theories and concepts, not necessarily just methods or quantitative methods. Our courses are, as far as possible, focused towards the Indian context. This means that, we in our courses, we're teaching, we use data from India, or case studies from India, or as you said, examples from India to help understand what we're teaching. There's also a lot of focus on trying to understand real world.
Rahul, sorry to interrupt you, but some of the voice is not very clear, as in at times it goes on a very low volume.
Okay, let me just try and come a little closer to the screen.
You are on mute. You are on mute. Rahul.
Okay, let me try with a different headphones. Maybe it will be better.
Yes, this is good.
Okay. I haven't missed. I mean, I was just giving the general context of the program. Just quickly revisiting what I was saying. So there's a focus on learning economics through theories and concepts. It's not just a maths or a quantitative focus in economics. As far as possible, we use data from India or case studies or examples from India with our courses. There's also a great focus on not just studying abstract theories, but trying to see how it applies to real world institutions and real world actors. So this would include in courses, going out and doing some field work or following up on something happening in the economy, looking at budget document, looking at research papers on the Indian economy or, about different aspects of India. There's also a big focus in many of the courses to make students do independent research. So in most courses, there'll be one assessment which will ask students to do a project of their own, either through group work or individually, and in which they research a question or a theme they're interested in and present to the class. In terms of skills, I think all the courses kind of helps to build capacities in problem solving, in doing analysis, and learning different kinds of quantitative skills. Programming is also an important part of our course, and it's something that we get students to start right from the first year. And many of the data-oriented courses require a basic understanding of programming before you can go ahead. Another aspect which we take seriously is how do we communicate economics? So how do you communicate what to learn? So how do you write for, let's say, for the public, or how do you write for write or speak to an audience which might not have a background in economics? That's also something we inculcate through our courses. For this year, this is the first time we're doing a 4-year program. This is a list of the courses that all students in economics have to do. So there's Introduction to Economics 1 and 2. This is broadly looking at certain concepts and theories that you need to know to even do economics. I'd like to mention that we don't assume any of our students have done economics before. If you've done it in school, it will give you some advantage right in the beginning. But our class starts with the assumption that you've not done economics before, and also that you've done maths till class 10. So the first year is kind of helping build up basic capacities in economics and maths. One thing that's different is that even for those students who've done economics before, our introduction to economics is a little different from what you learn in school. For those of you who want to get a little bit of flavor for it, we use this free online textbook, which we've been part of developing, and it's used in many universities around India and the world. It's called Core Economics. And if you go to Google and just type CORE, Core Economics, you will find a link to this website and you can register and use it for free. So that will give you a sense of, what we cover in Introduction to Economics. After that, over the second and third year, we have intermediate microeconomics, intermediate macro. Political economy, which is a course usually not done in most UG programs. Political economy is where you look at different economic processes and see how politics shape it. You look at policy making, you look at how power plays a role in determining economic outcomes. We have a course which introduces econometric methods, a course in economic history, a course in the history of economic thought, which is that, how economists over time, what they've said, and a compulsory course in the Indian economy. How many are these? Okay, these are 10 compulsory courses, and then with the rest of your credits, depending on how you choose, there are a lot of electives available. In general, the electives are dependent on who the faculty is, and there's a bit of change, but most of these right now are available, are going to be offered in the very near future. Just some of the ones that are right now being done is development economics, applied game theory, money banking and finance, feminist economics, applied econometrics, theories of economic growth, computational economics, advanced micro, advanced macro. And I haven't really put a slide here. Economics actually, is a course which easily sort of fits into many different kinds of sectors. So students, many of our students have of course gone to do masters, but some of them look for jobs, have generally looked for either jobs which require a certain proficiency in data or in the development sector. And we have some students who applied for MBAs who are later looking to get into the corporate sector, marketing or banking. Thank you.
Yes. Rahul, I think I'll request you to answer one more question, which I did see about what is it that, how is our interview like? What is it that we ask, or what is it that we look for in an interview? If you can just give us a general overview.
Okay. See, we don't assume you've done economics necessarily before. However, in the interview, we would like to get a sense of why you want to do economics. And I think just to say this is same for all the disciplines, why you want to do economics, and if you've done any kind of reading on your own, on the newspaper, through someone about economics. If you haven't, then usually we ask you about I know something contemporary happening or something even happening in your city and region, and just to get a sense of, how do you think, how do you analyze? We do not test school, what you might have learned in school or expected to learn in school. So I think in terms of preparation for any discipline, but also for economics, it's good to sort of get a sense of why you want to do this, and at least look at some resources in the subject. So if you haven't done, maybe look at CBSE textbook, or pick up accessible books on economics, or even just look at the newspaper. I think all of that will be useful for a preparation for the interview.
All right. Thank you so much. And I think there were more questions in the chat, which were already answered by you. So with that, we actually come to an end with the faculty presenting us. But if there are any more questions you may feel, I would have missed some. Rajgopal, I'm going to ask you if there are any questions which you think we missed or should be answered. Then,
No, not really. I think my colleagues, faculty members, they're doing a fabulous job. They were. I thought I have a good typing speed, but they're ahead of me. So my request to everybody is, looking at the question is to spend some time to understand the new 4-year honors program structure, right? I think many of them have missed out the flexible courses component that we have, right? So nothing other than that. I think it is there in Nirja's presentation when we started. Otherwise, I think we've done quite well, Vida. Thank you. So if you can just let me summarize, it's good to look at the 4-year program as somebody is asking me, oh, is the program with a major minor combo, right? It's beyond that. It's not just a major minor combination. We do have a common curriculum. You have a major, of course, a disciplinary major. We do have an occupational track, which has got a interdisciplinary minor, which you could link with professional internship. And it is where in the flexible courses that you should spend time, where many of my colleagues were saying that you could do courses of your choice, right? So that's where the philosophy plus economics or economics for philosophy, all that is possible in the flexible courses. Nothing more than that, I think.
All right. I think there was a question on the fee part of it. There was somebody wanting to know. So I'm going to request Sonal to just show us the fee slide. That will help. As you all know that we do offer financial scholarships. Hence the image will have, yes, right. So what we talk about a full fees for anyone's annual income, which is more than 15 lakhs. Otherwise, these are the slabs of scholarship that's available. We do not have merit-based scholarship, but we only have the financial need-based scholarship. Hence, that is why when you apply to our program, we do have a column saying that would you be requiring financial assistance? And once you click on that, then we process it in that way. Right. So I hope this also helps. For any other questions which you feel that you need more elaborate answers, write to us again at outreach@apu.edu.in. We will come back to you with a reply.
Can I just clarify something here, Bita?
Sure.
The scholarships that you see at Azim Premji University is in the form of fee waiver. And it's all quite transparent. We try to mention whatever possible is there on the website. Yeah, I just want to clarify that. So when the name scholarship looks like money being paid out to them, but it's in the form of fee waiver. Yeah.
Fee waiver, right. Okay, I think we would have answered most of the questions. Is there? Do you see any other questions that's coming in? Sorry, I'm not looking at the chat part of it, but if there are any important questions that we may have missed, write to us. We're always there to help. And thank you all for actually staying this long. I know with exams and around the corner, you all must be really tensed, but this is also very important for you to hear from us as to what is it that you have. I see a lot of parents also have joined in today. Thank you so much, and sincerely appreciate you all. Have a great evening. And with this, we will end today's session. Faculty, thank you so much for the presentation as well as the support and the question answers. I think we really were able to answer all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Really